2007 Dodge Caliber has so many new and notable features that Mastertech is devoting several releases to it. Previous programs covered the continuously variable transaxle and the all-new family of four-cylinder engines and their new engine controller. This month, we're continuing our coverage of Caliber with a look at additional features you need to know about. Welcome to the January 2006 Mastertech. We'll begin this new model highlights program in the usual way, with a look at the model and powertrain lineup. Then, since we've covered the Caliber engines and CVT transaxle in previous Mastertechs, we're going to focus on notable exterior and interior body and electrical system features. You may remember from last month's Mastertech that the body code for Caliber is PM. Both NAFTA and export markets will receive SE, SXT, and RT models. However, the available powertrains will vary between the two markets. NAFTA SE and SXT models are both front-wheel drive. The standard powertrain is the 1.8-liter engine and 5-speed manual transaxle. The 2-liter engine and CVT is optional. At initial launch, NAFTA RT models are all-wheel drive and are equipped with a 2.4-liter engine with the CVT. Later in the model year, front-wheel drive RT models will be available. These will also be equipped with a 2.4-liter engine. However, they will be available with either the 5-speed manual transaxle or the CVT. On the export side, all of the models are front-wheel drive. In addition to the 1.8-liter and 5-speed manual and 2-liter and CVT, SE and SXT models are available with a 2-liter diesel engine and 6-speed manual transaxle. Export RT models are available only with a 2.4-liter engine and 5-speed manual transaxle. Those are the Caliber model lineups for the domestic and export markets. Next up, a look at Caliber's vehicle communication and power distribution systems. In last April's Mastertech, we told you about changes to vehicle communication systems, including the introduction of a totally integrated power module, or TIPM, on PT Cruiser and Ram truck. Caliber also uses a TIPM for circuit protection and control, as well as for the central gateway between CAN-C diagnostic, and CAN-B buses. All of the Caliber's fuses are located under the TIPM cover. To prevent battery drain, Calibers are shipped from the factory with the IOD fuse in the raised position. The cover is equipped with a seal to prevent debris and moisture from entering the TIPM. So be sure to check it for misalignment or damage before reinstalling the cover. To control circuits, the TIPM uses high and low side drivers. The few remaining relays are located in a secondary power distribution center. The secondary PDC is located at the front of Caliber on the driver's side, just below the headlamp. Except for the fuses, the TIPM is serviced as an assembly. There is only one part number, and the new TIPM downloads its configuration from the cabin compartment node after installation. One more thing. Service procedures involving the TIPM specify disconnecting the battery, and with good reason, since it is possible to ground out the main power feed against a TIPM attaching point. The modules on the Caliber's CAN-B and CAN-C buses are similar to those you've seen in other applications. However, note that Caliber does not use serial communication interface lines. Other CAN bus vehicles use these lines for flash programming control modules. With Caliber, that will now occur over the CAN bus wiring. See this month's reference book for a diagram of the Caliber's bus system. Like other bus systems, the Caliber's makes use of local interface network, or LIN buses, for some systems. In fact, several components are connected to the cabin compartment node via a LIN bus. And a LIN is also used for the transponders for the premium tire pressure monitoring system. That's a brief overview of the Caliber's power distribution and communication systems. Next, we're going to discuss some of the Caliber's exterior features. Caliber's front lamp modules contain the headlamps, parking lamps, and turn signals. To access the left headlamp bulb, you'll need to move the TIP'em. Once again, be sure to disconnect the battery before doing so. To access the right headlamp bulb, you'll need to move the coolant recovery bottle, power steering reservoir, and washer bottle. To access the park and turn signal bulbs, you'll need to move the front part of the splash shield aside. To service the lamp modules, you'll need to remove the front fascia. In the rear, 2 push pins retain the tail lamp housings. In the area of exterior trim, there are a couple of features of the roof aperture molding that you should be aware of. For one thing, the molding attaches with arrowhead fasteners. To avoid rattles, take care not to break these off inside the roof channel. Also note the seals on these fasteners. These need to be reinstalled to avoid leaks. If you do need to repair the upper roof rails or the A-pillar or B-pillar on Caliber, note that these components are made of boron hot stamp steel. As a result, you'll need to use procedures appropriate for this material. Caliber's door strikers use a new design, which has an effect on their adjustment procedure. The plate that the striker attaches to is connected by thin metal loops to another plate that is spot welded at the factory. So in order to adjust the striker, you must overcome the spring-like resistance of these loops. As a result, you'll need to apply pressure to the striker by using a lever or other suitable tools, and then tighten the striker fasteners. The strikers are just one of the notable features of Caliber's doors. Next, we're going inside Caliber for a look at another feature that you need to know about. Modular assemblies have been around for some time now in the auto industry. These consist of related components assembled off-site. At the assembly plant, they're assembled to the vehicle as a single component. What's new on Caliber is the use of this approach for door components. On Caliber, most door components and trim are combined in a module. These include the interior trim panel, power window and lock switches, speaker, door panel wiring, latch and linkage, and window regulator. This is the first use of such a module on a Chrysler Group vehicle. In some ways, this new design simplifies service, but it is important to use the proper procedures to avoid damaging components. To give you a better idea of what's involved in servicing one of these new assemblies, we'll look at removing the front door module from a Caliber and some things to be aware of during installation. Now, before doing anything else, you do need to position the door glass so that you can separate it from the regulator. And on vehicles with power windows, you need to use the power window switch. So before disconnecting the battery, remove the screw in the pull cup and swing down the bolster. Tethers allow it to remain with the rest of the door. Then position the glass in the opening so that the release buttons are accessible. Push in the buttons to release the glass. Take care not to use excessive force or you could damage the buttons. Once the glass is released from the tracks, pull it all the way up and hold it there with tape or a wedge. Then you can disconnect the battery. At this point, you can remove the mirror cover and, if necessary, disconnect the power mirror connector and remove the connector half from its anchor. Then remove the inside handle trim and door module attaching screw. The speaker cover is next. Underneath it, you'll find 2 screws that attach the door module to the door panel. Other door module attaching bolts include the 2 that go through the top of the window tracks. They're accessible through the bolster opening. A central attaching bolt is also accessible through the opening. Another attaching bolt is located at the front edge of the door module near the bottom. 2 more attaching bolts are located at the bottom of the window tracks. However, these hold the bottom of the regulator together. They are located in slots, and you should only loosen, not remove them. Disconnecting the rods to the outside hardware is next, followed by removing the latch fasteners. You'll also need to disconnect the door module wiring harness from the vehicle harness at the A-pillar. as well as free the wiring harness from its anchor point on the door. With the harness free, you can lift the door module up to release 5 plastic hooks. To avoid damage, take care not to pull the module away from the door until the hooks are disengaged from the door panel. For the most part, door module installation is the opposite of removal. However, there are a few items to be aware of that will make the process easier. For one thing, be sure to position the window tracks properly within the door. The door glass must align with the tracks. Also, make sure the metal cups and bolts located at the bottom of the window tracks are aligned with the slots in the bottom of the door. When tightening the bolts to secure the window tracks, tighten the top bolts first and then the bottom ones. Finally, note that you do not have to push in the release buttons to install the door glass. Simply push down on the glass until you hear a click, indicating that the glass is seated in the tracks. Now, although the door module is installed as a unit, you can service some components without removing the module from the door. For example, the speaker can be separated from the door. In addition to the 2 long module attaching screws, you'll need to remove 2 speaker attaching screws. The power switches are in a module which can also be separated from the door. Caliber's instrument panel is another interior component that uses a modular design. And just as with the door modules, there are some service features you need to be aware of. When it's installed at the assembly plant, in addition to normal instrument panel components, such as the cross-car beam, the module includes the HVAC unit, instrument panel HVAC ducts, wiring harness, and steering column. Now, even though the HVAC unit is part of the module, you can remove the instrument panel while leaving the HVAC unit in the car. However, to access the fasteners that attach the IP to the HVAC unit and to the car, you'll need to remove a number of other components. Once these components have been removed, you can access 4 HVAC attaching bolts in the center of the instrument panel. The 5th bolt is located behind the passenger storage compartments. After unbolting the HVAC unit, to remove the instrument panel, you'll need to remove the bolts at each side of the IP, as well as the bolt at the bottom. Then loosen, but do not remove, the 4 bolts at the top. With these loose, you can lift the instrument panel off the hooks at the side and disconnect the wiring. Now that we've looked at some things to keep in mind when servicing the entire instrument panel, let's look at the service features of some individual components located in or near the instrument panel module. One of the components that needs to be removed to access IP fasteners is the center bezel and HVAC control head. Note that you need to disconnect 2 cables during removal. That's because the mode and blend doors on the Caliber's HVAC systems are manually controlled via cables. Be sure to match up the cable and connector colors during installation. The recirc door, on the other hand, uses an electric motor. A switch in the control head sends a signal to the cabin compartment node, which operates the door. The rear window defogger switch is also an input to the CCN. The cabin compartment node also plays a part in the AC request. The AC switch is hardwired to the CCN, which sends the request over the CAN-B bus to the TIPM. The TIPM then relays the request over the CAN-C bus to the GPAC-1, which is responsible for compressor control. As on other vehicles, the CCN on Caliber is combined with the cluster and is responsible for controlling or processing signals for many electrical system functions. Base, highline, and premium versions of the CCN are available, with the premium offering a reconfigurable display in the cluster. Caliber's wireless control module is located in the instrument panel below the CCN, and being aware of the steps and the service information will make removing it a lot easier. They involve first removing the upper and lower steering column covers, then removing the right stalk, the one that controls the wiper and washer. Behind that, you'll find a slot that provides access to the WCM fastener. While we're on the left side of the instrument panel, you should also take a quick look at the all-wheel drive module, located on the left cowl side. The module is attached to a slotted bracket to make removal and installation easier. The slots are oriented in vertical and horizontal directions. So for removal, loosen the fasteners and rotate the module to free it. Reverse the rotation to install it. We usually don't spend much time covering radios and new model highlights programs, but Caliber's sound systems have a couple of items worth noting. For one thing, Caliber's base AM/FM single CD player radio has an MP3 player input jack, a new feature on a Chrysler Group radio. Caliber's premium Boston acoustic sound system, which provides 458 watts of power, includes 9 speakers. 2 of these speakers are located in a hinged enclosure in the liftgate that allows them to swing down and face outwards when the hatch is open. Because of the additional weight, liftgates with these speakers use unique gas struts. The amplifier for the premium audio system is located under a cover forward of the spare tire. The satellite radio module is also located under this cover. One feature of the Caliber's instrument panel which is sure to prove popular is the cool storage bin on the passenger side. It's standard on all Calibers with air conditioning. When the air conditioning is on and a sliding door at the top of the bin is open, cold air circulates in the bin to keep items cool. Directly below the instrument panel are the shifters for the transaxles. To prevent shifting into gear unless the brake is depressed, the shifter for automatic transaxles uses a key lock cable and not an inline brake transmission shift interlock solenoid. Placing the shifter on its side facilitates cable removal and installation. A plug in the right side of the shifter console provides access to the park lock override lever. Behind the shifter, under the center stack, you'll find the Occupant Restraint Controller, or ORC. The ORC manages deployment of the seat belt tensioners, inflatable knee bolster, driver and front passenger airbags, and side curtain airbags. Some of the service features of Caliber's passive restraint system are the same as in other applications. First of all, there are the safety precautions. So be sure to disconnect the battery and wait 2 minutes as directed by the service procedures. Failing to do so could activate circuits and cause devices to deploy. The ORC uses 2 remote front impact sensors as an input for front airbag, knee bolster, and pre-tensioner deployment. They are located on the radiator support. The driver's airbag uses a floating horn design, and the cover and horn are serviceable separately from the airbag. For side airbag deployment, the ORC uses 2 side impact sensors on each side. The forward sensors are located on the B-pillars near the seatbelt retractors. The rear side impact sensors are located behind the rear quarter trim panels. Caliber's occupant classification system is the strain gauge type that we've discussed in previous Mastertech programs. Strain gauge alignment is critical for proper system operation. So if you do need to service the strain gauges, be sure to use the new Essential Special tool number 9689 to keep them in the correct position. And since the torque specification is critical, be sure to use a torque wrench to tighten the fasteners. In the area of seat belts, note that all belts, except the driver's, use automatic locking retractors that are designed to cinch down after being pulled out all the way and released. The rear seat has 3-point belts for all 3 occupants. And to facilitate seat folding, the center belt can be disconnected from the lower anchors by releasing a buckle and mini latch. The retractor for the center belt is located behind the right rear quarter trim, and the mini latch has a storage slot on the trim panel. Caliber seats are designed to provide comfort and utility. The rear seats on all models are split 60-40 and can be folded forward. On SXT and RT models, the rear seats also recline. On SXT and RT models, in addition to fore and aft and recline adjustments, the driver's seat features a manual height adjustment. SXT and RT models are also available with heated seats. Between the front seats, you'll find a few more features aimed at making Caliber versatile and user-friendly. A 115-volt outlet, standard on SXT and RT, and optional on SE models, is suitable for powering electronic devices, such as cell phones or laptops. And all models feature cup holders with electroluminescent rings that glow in the dark when the lights are switched on. As you can see, Caliber is a car that is just full of bright ideas. And here's one more. Standard on SXT and RT is a dual-purpose light. When installed in the headliner, it functions as a cargo lamp, but it can also be removed to work as a rechargeable flashlight. Many of the features we discussed here today are the subject of a new technology course. Dodge Caliber, Jeep Compass, and Jeep Patriot Electronic Systems and Components Overview covers these features in depth, so be sure to look for it in the course catalog on the DCA Learning Center website. Well, that's all we have time for this month. Be sure to join us next month when the topic will be malfunction indicator lamp strategies and the new evaporative system integrity monitor. Thanks for watching.